everyone, and welcome to another Scots Whay Hae podcast. And today I'm joined by Lesley Davidson, who is the co-director of the Beacon Arts Centre, a fantastic venue in Greenock. And we are here to talk about the first Beacon Book Festival, which runs from Friday the 20th to Sunday the 22nd of February. Hello, Lesley.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. And I'm really excited about the book festival and talking to you about it. I was interested because the Beacon Arts Centre, I mean, already has a well-established reputation. Why now for a book festival?
Oh, why now? I guess when I'm programming, Alistair, every year I want to think about something else that we can introduce to that program.
Sure.
And this year, it's something that I've always wanted to do. And this year I just thought, actually, no, I'm just going to go ahead and do a book festival and see where we get. Now, when I started off, I thought maybe some schools program, a couple of authors, but it kind of grew arms and legs. And before I knew it, there was lots of people involved. More and more authors wanted to be involved. And then we engaged with lots of brilliant hosts. And before we knew it, we had a really kind of strong lineup.
And actually, was it difficult to keep it to to the weekend? Could you have kind of expanded it further?
We could have, but our program is quite tight anyway. So I had just earmarked those days, but hopefully, it's already been a success for us, even though it hasn't happened yet. So hopefully next year I have kind of blocked a slightly bigger dates. Yeah.
I was going to ask you how you approach putting the program together, but it almost sounds like the program came to you. People were coming to you saying they like to be involved.
Yes, there was quite a few people that so I really wanted to have, we kind of pride ourselves in having something for everyone at the
Yeah.
Beacon. And I really wanted to engage with the school's audience, so get curriculum-based authors in. And I wanted also to not neglect the Gaelic audience, especially the Gaelic school audience.
Yeah.
And for during the day, I was very keen in the Saturday to showcase women in writing, and that was the first one that we really kind of secured and pinned down. So that was the most important thing to me. And then from then, it just seemed to kind of get the schools in, get the women in writing, and then we thought about other things around it. And obviously, you're looking at other book festivals and you're looking to see what everybody else is doing. You want to have a wee bit of a twist and do your own thing. So that's why the community aspect on the Sunday was really important to us. We've got our recovery group that we work with, our community engagement team work with every week. So it was important to get them on board. So their module for the last 6 weeks has been writing about their stories, about their lived experience. So we have the creative engagement team doing that with the creative recovery on the Sunday. So it was important to have that in as well. It was important to have local authors. And actually, the local author, she approached us and quite early on when she heard Anne Pettigrew, and she's a GP turned crime writer, and she's quite a magnificent woman actually. So we were thrilled when she said that she would be involved as well. So we were really excited about that, and Raymond Burke as well, who is an old friend of mine. Raymond and I started off the Archies together way back
All
in
right.
1990.
Yeah.
So Raymond was like, "Oh, Davidson, why am I not involved in this?" So of course, I was delighted to get Raymond involved with something completely different to everything else. But yeah, it really it shaped up really nicely, and we've got some terrific hosts as well. So I'm delighted with how it's all looking.
I'm smiling here because I've had Anne Pettigrew on the podcast a few years ago now that we
Uh,
did. She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
yeah, she's just a kind of force of nature, and she's just so passionate about everything that she does. And spend 5 minutes in that woman's company, she's a tonic.
Um, has there been a book festival in the Inverclyde area previously? Do you know that, or is this the first?
No, I think this is the first, as far as I know. Somebody might say, "Oh no, that's not true," but
Yeah.
actually, as far as I know, there hasn't been a book festival, and actually, the community in Inverclyde are so behind new things,
Mhm.
and you know they're very proud of the Beacon Art Centre, and so this has generated a lot of interest around, actually not just Inverclyde but
Yeah.
Glasgow as well, and outside. And when you've got people like Justin Curry who's coming on the Friday, you know that brings a whole new audience to the Beacon as well, which is great. That one's almost sold out actually, but we actually have our Dance with Parkinson's group every week, and having Justin Curry come and talk about his own struggles with
Of
Parkinson's
course.
is really will be, you know, it'll be great for us because there's a and the Dance for Parkinson's group will certainly come along to that. But no, it's we've got Damien Barr as well, who is terrific, and the next day we've got the Hebridean Baker
Mhm.
and Peter McQueen, who and that will be hosted by Jane McCarry. And when I was coming up with who I thought would be great within the whole weekend, I really wanted to do some, just not have anybody that was the same
Yeah.
almost, but the hosts were as important to me as the actual authors,
Okay.
because I thought that if you get the right host for the right author, it can be really fun, because I don't want it to be dry. I want it to be fun and engaging, and I want the audience to feel as if they're part of it. So for the Hebridean Baker and Peter McQueen, we've got Jane McCarry who's hosting that one, which will be brilliant. Jane is obviously a well-known actress, and she does our panto every year as well. Her and
Right.
Mark Cox come together and do our panto every year. So when I asked Jane, immediately she said yes, immediately, which was great. And everybody that we have approached,
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
Alistair,
I'm delighted.
to do Christopher Brookmeyer, which we're thrilled about. Gavin Mitchell, the actor and comedian, and Paul English, the broadcaster,
Mhm.
and Pauline McLean from BBC correspondent. So we're really thrilled with not just the authors but all the hosts as well.
I think that's really the absolute. I mean, maybe I would say this, but it's absolutely the right thing to do is to think about who's paired with who and kind of how
Mm,
that will unfold. Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
to see Jane McCarry with the Hebridean Baker, I would like to see how that unfolds myself.
No, it'll be great. It'll be great. It's yeah, we've just got so much on. I'm looking to see if I've missed anything, but obviously Ken MacLeod is a sci-fi writer who I wasn't actually familiar with, but it was quite a sweet story. We were programming the book festival, and the Greenock Telegraph, who are huge supporters of the Beacon, said, "Oh, can we come and take some photos and just get your thoughts about it? We'd like to, you know, let people know." And it was George, the photographer, while he was taking my photos with a pile of books, said to me, "Oh, do you know Ken MacLeod, the sci-fi writer?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not overly familiar with sci-fi." He said, "Oh, he's a friend of mine, and we have a wee pint every week together in the Cafe Continental, and he's a brilliant writer." And I thought, well, I'll look this guy up. Well, I looked him up, and Alistair, this is the plethora of work
Yeah,
this man has done.
absolutely.
And I was a bit embarrassed that I'd never heard of him before. So I'd got in contact with him, and he was like, absolutely, I would love to. And he's local, he's
Yeah.
Guruk. And to pair him up with Paul English, the journalist,
Mhm.
is perfect because they're two. Paul's from Inverclyde as well, so it's great that somebody who lives in Inverclyde has been interviewed by somebody that really knows the area so well.
I think sci-fi, a bit like a lot of the genres, if you're not into it, you won't know the people who are doing. But Ken's a name I haven't heard for a while, but yeah, absolutely, hugely respected writer.
Mhm.
And you know, you're talking there about having local people involved and Beacon Arts more widely. Community is a big, big part of it, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, we certainly see ourselves as a community resource, and our audiences are very loyal, you know, and we get great feedback when we're trying new things. Um, some of them work, some of them don't work so well, but you know, if we get 20 people into the studio theatre to see something that's completely off the wall, I feel as if that's a success, just as much as getting 500 people in for a Tina Turner tribute. So to me, that if you're reaching all these different kind of people, I think it's brilliant. But no, they're a very loyal audience, and they'll let us know if they don't like things, which is great. It's good. It's good for me as a programmer. I think that's terrific. And we've been lucky enough that we do have all the national performing companies here. Scottish Opera, RSNO, the Chamber Orchestra. And last year we had Scottish Ballet for the first time, and the people of Inverclyde were just like so thrilled, because why should they have to go to Glasgow and Edinburgh to see something when they've got this wonderful resource on their doorstep?
It's why I'm kind of surprised when I was thinking, has there been a book festival in the area? Because it's such a creative area. I think of the bands, musicians, writers, filmmakers that have come from in Inverclyde. And I guess it's like anywhere where you're kind of close to a big city, sometimes that gets overlooked.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. And I travel in from Glasgow every day, and people go, "Oh, you travel in from Glasgow? It's 30 minutes
I
down the
know, I
road."
know.
And I don't get that people from Glasgow or Edinburgh will quite happily go to either Glasgow or Edinburgh or whatever, and it takes you over an hour to get there, but they won't come down the road to Inverclyde. So that's the kind of, we want to push people, come up, come and see
Yeah.
us, because we're just 30 minutes down the road.
It's an area I know very well, and I mean, you mentioned the Cafe Continental. I've been there many times, and it's. I just think the Beacon Arts Centre from all the time. I always look forward to going because it's a wonderful building. We'll talk about the whole setup of it, but just you always know that there's going to be something. One, it'll be a warm welcome, and you will be entertained no matter what you do. That's my feeling. But when I'm going, I mentioned I'm in the south side of Glasgow, so it really is just half an hour down the road, no bother at all, and then you're there and you're back home before you know it.
Absolutely. And I think, the people in Inverclyde have let us know, oh, I'm so thrilled you've got the ballet. I'm so thrilled you've got this. They're happy that they're not having to go into Glasgow to see Scottish ballet.
Yeah.
That's because they have it on their doorstep.
And we've talked a bit about the programme and who's on, and we'll talk about the themes in a moment more in more detail. But we should let people know where they can find out more and get tickets and all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Just go on our website, and the full program of works is there, and it's very easy to book, obviously, on the website. But we still have a box office here. We still have a box office open every day from 9 till when the show goes in. So we're one of the few places that has a box office, because what we find is our customers like that personal touch. So come
Yeah.
in person, phone, on the website. So it's important to us that, how frustrating is it, Alistair, when you're phoning up anywhere and
Yeah.
you're put on hold, and or you can't even book a ticket unless you go online these days, which not
Yeah.
everybody wants to do.
Oh.
So there's plenty ways to get tickets, and I have to say it is selling brilliantly, and but always room for a few more.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think will there be a chance for people if they just rock up on the day, or are people better getting
They're
tickets?
probably better booking, but I'm sure, there's like something like the Women in Writing is selling very well.
Yeah.
It's selling very well, and so is the Hebridean Baker and Peter McQueen. Justin Curry's almost sold out, but I have to say they're all selling well. If you want to come along, we'd love to have you, and we've made it very accessible for people to come price wise, because
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I was very keen not to outprice ourselves, and there's nothing, everything's a fiver, if you want to come and see that they're all £5. But we also have some pay what you can sessions, which are the children's show on the Saturday with Ross Collins. I don't know whether you're familiar with Ross's work.
Oh.
He's a illustrator and children's writer. He's somebody that I've known Ross for a long, long while, and my children read his books, and I read the books to my own two kids who are in their 20s now, but that was a long while ago. And Ross is going to be coming and doing a workshop with the children. He's going to be doing readings and then a workshop. So it's really going to be like a full kind of hour and a half. And one of our sponsors is Argown Hospice, and they were delighted that when I was telling them about the barriers that children have to reading and just not having a book to read, they said, "Well, we'll buy you some books. We've got sponsors that will buy some books." So it was brilliant that one of our other supporters, Waterstones, said, "Well, we'll give you a good deal on those books." So, so any kid that comes to the Ross Collins, we are thrilled that we will have a book for every child that goes away that day. And I think that's really important. It's really important to me, and to so many people, because yourself, Alice, so growing up in the 70s, there wasn't a lot of money around. And I remember my tiny wee village primary school and somebody coming along to read stuff to us one day, and we all got a book, and mine was the Elves and the Shoemaker. Oh my goodness, that book never left my side for years. And I want to make other people thrilled about that. So we're really very happy about being able to do that with the support of all the people that are supporting the book
Yeah,
race.
because you've got these various strands. You've got the school sessions, as you've mentioned, and you've got creative writing workshops as well.
Yes, we do on the Sunday, and that's with a local writer, Laurie Donaldson, who's a writer and poet. And Laurie actually approached us, and he's been doing some sessions here in a Sunday with a writers club, and we're supporting that. So he was obvious to ask him, would you be able to come and do those? So he's doing an introduction to creative writing and poetry, two different workshops on the Sunday, the 22nd from 10 till 12, and then 12 till 2 at the Beacon. So yeah, please come along to that, phone up and book for those. And I think everybody's got a bit of the writer in them, haven't they? I certainly do. I'm a secret poetry writer, and I love all of that. Putting some pen to paper is great, and I really would say to anybody that's just even get the remote interest in it, come
Right.
along. Phone, book up, come along and see if it's for you. Because I think that'll be a really lovely afternoon. It's a nice way to spend 2 hours.
You just never know until you try it. And I've done
Mm.
creative writing workshops in the past, and they've been some of the best, time spent, because not just you're getting your own thoughts down, but you're hearing other people's, which are often very
Yeah,
different to what you're doing. And it just, whether you don't, you never think about getting published or whatever, just the actual fact of sharing stories can be such
definitely.
a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds great. And something I'm intrigued by is the bookshop band.
Yes, well, this is the person, one of my colleagues, Kirsten, has been helping me with this. So, Kirsten just started at the Beacon about a year ago as front of house manager. And when I mentioned my idea to her, she was like, "Oh, I need to get involved. Can I help? Can I help?" So, Kirsten has been instrumental. She's just been fantastic. And she went to see the bookshop band in Paisley about 8 months ago, and she came back all thrilled. She had had a fantastic night. And she said, "I think that would be a perfect way to end the weekend." And I thought, well, actually, that would be a perfect way to end the weekend. And so, yeah, that's on at 7 o'clock on the Sunday in our studio theatre. So that's the full stop to the weekend of authors. And yeah,
A great way to round it off, definitely.
absolutely. Mhm.
Now, maybe you can't answer this, but are there particular events that you're looking forward to? Ones that
Well, Raymond will probably say it would be his, but do you know, I'm looking forward to all. If I'll be
Yeah,
totally honest, I'm looking
yeah.
forward to all. I'll be here all weekend, and for me, it's about how different they all are,
Yes.
and I really want to see how they all work. Uh, yeah, I am very interested in the women in writing. I just think that it's three terrific authors. I think that I want to see how they talk around each other, and I think it'll just be such an interesting evening. And with Jane there as well, I think that'll be terrific. So I'm looking forward very much to that,
Yeah.
and also to the creative recovery, the turning a page on that with the Sunday in the studio theatre. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. But of everything. I am quite excited. We don't have anything that we didn't think that would work or that people wouldn't want to see.
Yeah,
So, it was very much programmed around, not selfishly around myself or Kirsten, but around what we thought would work and what people wanted to see. So, yeah.
yeah. I have to say, I'd written down Scottish women in writing as a particular
Mhm.
highlight for me, partly because three of my favourite writers, and Denise Mina, Louise Welsh, and Kirsty Logan, and you've got, as you say, a great chair in Polly McLean. That'll just be fabulous, I think,
Mhm.
to be in on that conversation.
Mhm.
Sometimes you think, oh, I wish I could be in that conversation, and now you've got the opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, no, I think I said it was Jane McCarry that was doing that, but you're right, it's Polly McLean.
Yeah.
Jane's doing the Hebridean Baker and Peter McQueen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Um, I think we should talk about the Beacon Arts Centre more widely because it the work it does is fantastic. And if people don't know it, I mean, it's a stunning building for a start. It's just a
Mhm.
great place. Even if you're in Greenock and you want to go and get a coffee somewhere beautiful, it's a great
Mhm.
place, isn't it? If for
Oh,
people who
yeah.
don't know, could you talk about the place and also the work you do?
Well, we are literally 3 minutes from Greenock train station, so it's a very accessible
Yeah.
place. So the Beacon Arts Centre's been here for about 12 years now, and it's a huge, big glass building on the waterfront. So we have our main theatre, which holds 500, and a studio theatre, which holds 128. And we also have a magnificent gallery space where most of the book festival will be on,
Right.
and that looks onto the water. So there's nothing nicer than coming in here every morning, and no matter what the weather, it's quite choppy out there today, and it's just beautiful. It really lifts your heart. It's such a beautiful area, and I just feel incredibly lucky to work here and to be here and to have that view every day. I worked at the Citizens Theatre for
Mhm.
21 years, Alistair.
Right.
And as much as that is ingrained in me, the sits and how much I absolutely adored and loved it and still do, I never had a view. I had a postage stamp that I looked out onto a car park, and having a view is magnificent. Uh,
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I worked in restaurants for many, many years, most of them in Glasgow, some of them overseas, but most of them in Glasgow. And, you were in a kitchen and that was it. And then fairly recently, I was working on an old Clyde puffer that took passengers up Inverclyde, apart from other places. And I would be, washing the dishes or cooking, prepping the fish or whatever, and you look out and you see this country, and it just lifts your heart. And I can imagine I would have difficulty doing work, I think, Lesley, when I've got that view
yeah,
out the window.
yeah, yeah. I know. Every time a boat goes past, I'm taking photos. It's yeah, I have to discipline myself.
Yeah, I'm right. I might be wrong about this, but if people think they may have seen it before, it was on telly, wasn't it? It was used in Annika.
Yes, for 2 seasons, they used our gallery suite as the police station in Annika. So yeah, they came in and built their police station in there, and they used the building as well. So that was quite thrilling actually. That was really good to have. And we've also had quite a few people film. We've got a massive big area to the side of us, so there's always some film unit out there. There was a Bollywood film last year, and I
Oh,
couldn't get any of the staff to work because there was some stunts going on out the front. And eventually I had to give up and think, well, no, this is really exciting. They really need to be watching this. So yeah, that was quite thrilling. So there's always some filming going on around in and around Inverclyde.
yeah. Yeah, and it's a fantastic place. And now you mentioned that you were involved with the Arches, you're involved with the Citizens Theatre, so you've been involved in the arts sector for quite a while. Has there been major changes that you've seen over that period of time? I'm guessing yes. Is the answer.
Yes, I guess absolutely. I when I was at the Arches, it was in 1990, and I was an actress at the time. So, and myself and Raymond Burke and Ross Stenhouse and Grant Smeaton, along with Andy Arnold, we
Yeah,
started the arches. And but it was very much rehearsing a show and doing another show at night, trying to kind of make a living. And actually that was tough work. That was tough work, and it was great to see the arches kind of bloom from that. But you move on, and I decided that after 10 years that I didn't want to be an actress anymore, and applied for the job at the Sits as front of house manager, actually, and just kind of moved up the ranks to operations manager, and then eventually general manager when I left. And as much as it really upset me to leave, I just, the opportunity to co-direct at the Beacon yeah, it was too much of a pull. And I love programming. One of the things that I didn't do too much, I did a wee bit of it at the Sits, but obviously that is a producing company with just a small amount of programming. But I did a wee bit of it at the Sits. But I love doing the programming here. It's one of the things that I really get a lot of joy and pleasure out of. It's never boring.
And it's constant as well. I guess you're always thinking about the next
Yeah,
thing. Because
yeah,
often I talk to
definitely.
people who do book festivals, it's an annual book festival. So they've got or any festival actually,
Mhm.
they've got a run up to it. And then, they've got the festival and that's intense. And then there's already thinking about the next one. But with someone who's
Mhm.
programming a whole arts centre, they
Mhm.
must just keep on going.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's relentless, but it's also, it's quite. I feel very lucky to be able to program a lot of things like the book festival. When I took it to the board were like, brilliant, absolutely, go ahead, that sounds great. They very rarely step on your toes. We've got a wonderful board here that's headed up by Alex Riedick
Yep.
from Scottish Opera, and he's so enthusiastic about anything that you bring to him. So that really kind of makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. And obviously, we have a lot of comedy, we have kids, we have tributes, we have bands, we have so much going on. But we also like to invent things like the book festival for here. And we started this like program of work called Inverclyde about 2 years ago, because I realised that there was so many young bands in Inverclyde that didn't have a place to play. And when I was growing up, my sisters and I used to go to the Mucky Duck in Shotts, or the Heathery in Wishaw, or the Hat and Rig in Bells Hill, all these weird and wonderful places. And they would have these fantastic Scottish indie bands.
Mhm.
And I wanted to try and emulate what we had in our youth here. And we've been doing Indie Inverclyde for a couple of years now. One's on tonight, completely sold out, with the
Brilliant.
local band Slicks, which is brilliant. And actually, the lead singer of Slicks is also one of our facilities team. So, but that's brilliant. We're thrilled that that's been working for us, and we'll continue to support those bands. And we've got lots of bands writing in and emailing me and saying, can we play? And absolutely, yeah, of course. We've got that beautiful wee studio theatre, and it's a great theatre. Well, you can push the seats right back, and it's just like yeah, it's brilliant. It's great. And we also work with RCS. We've been working with them for the past 18 months with their students, their classical students. So that's a kind of another partnership that we've been doing. And that's Sunday afternoon concerts. And it's a certain age group that come to that. And I think that's brilliant. It's like Indian Clyde, it's for that really hard to reach 14 to 21-year-old.
Yeah.
And whereas the RCS classical afternoons are really for that kind of older audience that don't want to go out at night. They would rather do a matinee. So both are very popular for very different reasons.
Going back to this idea that community is kind of at the heart of what you do. It's a large area in Verkleining, maybe people don't quite realise. And I'd say a lot of creative people from there. And it seems to me that the Beacon is a real hub now for people to meet, collaborate,
Mhm.
which is a huge thing, what you're saying, and work with different companies as well, which I don't think always was the case. There does seem to be, in Scottish arts in particular at the moment, a real desire to collaborate and learn and work with others.
Definitely, definitely. We've got a couple of things in the pipeline. We've got and in association with raw material, doing Scots, so that's something that we are supporting. We're also doing Sailmaker with Airgate. That's another thing that we're kind of doing in association with. So it's really, I think collaborations with other companies
Yeah.
and individuals and new and emerging companies are really should be at the heartbeat of everything that you do, because we have this massive building. I know that we have to generate a lot of our own money, and Karen, my co-director, and I, it's hard work, but we get there. And but I have to say that we do also want to support a lot of things. We want to do a lot of in associations with co-producing work. And today we've got a rehearsed reading of a playwright called Ian Heggie, who's doing
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple of. So Ian's in with us today, and we're supporting these two rehearsed readings that he's doing. And we've got people coming over to see the sharing this afternoon. We also supported another new and emerging artist last week called The Raft and the Crab, a French artist. Is because we've got this studio theatre, it really lends itself to these new companies, or companies that just don't have the money to go out and get rehearsal space. Or so we've been doing a lot of that. So we do support quite a lot of places throughout the year.
Yeah, I guess it's not just a place where people come to watch stuff and be an audience, but a place for people to come and take part and make and create as well.
Yeah, yeah. And if we can offer that, we do offer the studio theatre. Obviously, we program in there as well, but we do offer about 12 weeks of the year to companies that perhaps didn't get funding from Creative Scotland or are new, emerging. We're supporting this young company, young female company called Tenacious Theatre Company.
Right.
And so they rehearsed all week and then had a sharing of work on the Friday afternoon, and then put a show on, a public show on the Saturday. So it's nice, and it's really nice that we are able to support that kind of work as well.
And it's really kind of heartening to hear that despite all the challenges to making art or creating, anywhere, that people will continue and still continue to do it. And you've got somewhere that can support that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's obviously something other places do. And I think other companies, if you've got a building and you've got space, there's nothing worse than a space not being
Uh,
used. There's
Yeah.
nothing worse. And, we have a duty of care to the next generation as well. And so, yeah, we try and make this building as busy as possible and to utilise every space that we have. And they're all being used today, which is why I'm in a dressing room. There's not one space free, which is great. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely.
And we've obviously got our exhibition programme as well, Alistair. We have a curator, Fraser Taylor, who curates all our exhibitions. We've got a fabulous one just now with Daisy Richardson. And so you can come in, you can go to our lovely cafe, which opens at 10 o'clock every morning, sit by the water, go and see the exhibition, go and see, a show in the afternoon or evening. So there's really, it's a busy place.
Yeah, I know. I know that is the case. And with the book festival approaching, of course you're going to be excited about it. But does it feel like you've got the kind of time to be worried about it because you've just got to get it through and get on to something else?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, people say, "Oh, I'm very busy, very busy." Everybody's busy in the arts. That's
I
you
know.
don't go into the arts if you're not going to be busy. It's not for the faint-hearted, and it's I like being busy, and I like having lots of different things going on at any one time. And I think for me, I've always felt it was a bit of a privilege to be in the arts, and
Yeah.
and it's a privilege to be one of the co-directors. Alongside Karen, my co-director. It's a privilege to be looking after the Beacon. That's how we both feel actually. Karen heads up the creative engagement team, so she'll be along with she'll be helping out at the book festival as well.
Well, Lesley, first of all, thank you so much for asking me to be involved. I'm really looking forward to it. As I say, it's a place I know well and an area I know well, so it's great to be involved and to talk to Christopher Brookmeyer, who I've done a few events with, and it's always a pleasure to do that. But thank you for taking the time to talk to me. It's been fascinating.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the flesh. And thank you for agreeing to do Christopher Brookmeyer. We were thrilled when you said yes.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Yeah. Well, Lesley, all the best with the book festival and everything at Beacon Arts.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
And we'll be back soon with someone completely different.